Hi, Rich Leiter here, and welcome to my channel again, the Naked Booktuber. So as you can see, I've been busy, hard at work. This is a painting I did about 1.5 to 2 years ago, but I didn't like it, wasn't satisfied with it, so I reworked it. It's taken from a painting by Guido Renzi called Susanna and the Elders, and I cropped out everything in the painting except for Susanna. Susanna in the Bible is this fair maiden who is just, I don't know, somewhere in the woods, and all of a sudden she is propositioned by these two elderly men. And what you don't see on the left side are the two elderly men who are propositioning her for sexual favors, and one of them actually has his fingers to his lips saying, "Shh, don't tell anybody." But I cropped them out. I just wanted to focus on Susanna. So this is it. And here are the things that I wanted to say. It's done in acrylic paint. What I wanted to say about it is the sky, I find to be very interesting. The clouds seem to be taking on shapes, anthropomorphic shapes, I suppose. The woman Susanna, as I say, is being startled by these two elders in the original painting who were trying to proposition her. And so since I cropped them out, she has a very, very alarmed look on her face. And I thought to myself, well, what is she alarmed at? Since I cropped out the two men, I have to indicate in some way that she's alarmed at something. And what will that be? At first, I thought maybe of putting like I don't know, a skeleton on the left side, or some kind of a scary object. Maybe taking something from a mask from a painting by James Ensor, putting it there, and that's what she's frightened of. Or death. And then I realized that that's kind of very, very hokey and predictable. And I decided not to put anything there. I just decided to try to express her anxiety by using the paint itself in the background. And so the background, the clouds, I guess you'd call them, they are slightly disturbing. You have this menacing cloud to the right of her curling around to her turban. And on the left side of her, right by her turban, you have this cloud which, it kind of, this form here going down here, I didn't plan it this way, but it kind of looks like an angel. An angel's wings and the body of an angel. And of course, beyond that to the left, you have the sun, which is shimmering on her and her turban. So it's kind of so I was able to, I think, accomplish this kind of spooky effect with the clouds. Excuse me. Okay, excuse me, I was interrupted. So these clouds take on sort of an ominous suggestion. And I'm thinking to myself, maybe she's just... They also kind of look like spooks, like ghosts or... ectoplasm, which she's finally able to see, and which she senses all around her, and maybe that's giving her the anxiety. Something like that. And so, what I realized when I did this painting is that sometimes you can tell a story in a painting, or suggest a story without actually having to be too explicit about it. It's not necessary to have a whole host of characters to tell a story. You can just do it by the paint. I mean, I just was fooling around with the paint, with the clouds, and it suggested something slightly off-kilter or ominous. I know that, Odd Nerdrum and his school, particularly his disciples, they have this thing where you must always be telling a story, and it must always be a story, a recounting of a myth, and it must, harken back to Joseph Campbell and so on. And I mean, it's a very rigid kind of ideology that they have, and I don't find it necessarily always to be the thing. I mean, Modigliani never had any action in his paintings. I mean, he was just basically a figure sitting in a chair or standing in a pretty much bare room, and they're very powerful without all of these figures doing all of these things. So you can do that sometimes. I didn't realize that. You just let the paint have its own way, and sometimes something will suggest itself to you. And I noticed also that white is a very, very violent color when you have the right values. It really makes a painting zip, and I never really realized that before. So that's it. I think this is it. This version. I can always tell when I don't. I think a painting needs more work. When I don't really enjoy looking at it, I don't want to hang it up. And I do enjoy looking at this painting very much, and I do want to look at it. And let me just give you a little bit of a closer look here at Susanna. Yeah. My wife helped me out with this painting too. She told me that the turban didn't take into account the round shape of the Susanna's skull. My turban wasn't quite conforming to the shape of Susanna's skull, so that was good. That's like the major thing that I revised. Yeah. You see that shadow to the left of her? It reminds me of an angel, or some kind of invisible ectoplasm or something, which Susanna is able to sense now. And that's very powerful to me in this painting. So I'm going to see if I can explore this more in some subsequent paintings that I do. Let me put this down again. Yeah. One thing I've learned, I do like abstract expressionist paintings. I like abstract paintings still, not as much as I used to. I mean, a lot of the abstract painters that I used to like, I don't like anymore, but I do appreciate some of them. However, when you start painting like this, or you just trying to paint figures like this, just copying paintings from the old masters, you realize just how it's so incredibly challenging to do. There's so much more in it, for me anyway, than an abstract painting. I mean, let's face it. I mean, a lot of abstract painters will argue that abstract painting is extremely demanding and difficult. Yeah, a good abstract painting is, but most of the abstract paintings that I've seen, they look immediately like the painter didn't put much effort into it, and you have to put a lot of effort into a painting like this. It's just much more challenging to me. And that's the overall dominant feeling I get when I look at abstract paintings. I'm not talking about the postmodern contemporary schlock out there. I'm talking about painters who are trying to do something abstract. Even the more serious abstract painters, it just doesn't look like they put a lot of effort into it. It just isn't doing it for me anymore. As it used to. Maybe that's just me, but it's a very sharp contrast, the difference between painting figuratively and painting in an abstract way for me. So that's it. I hope you liked the video. I certainly like painting this painting. Thanks very much.